someone, Matt, who wouldn't thank me for naming him on the air, but he's played in the green jersey in the back row, and I was asking him about the Caelan Doris situation, and his sense was that the coaching ticket probably do want Conan in the team, especially if Conan is playing well. And he was saying, Conan versus O'Mahony, Conan's frankly younger, more explosive, better ball carrier, will give them go forward ball, they'll get over the gain line more. But I suppose what Saturday taught us is the starting point might almost be nothing should come at the expense of Doris at 8.
Yes, Abraham Lincoln, don't weaken a strength, strengthen a weakness. It still holds true, even in rugby, maybe.
Well done squeezing that in. Brilliant.
I've just got to throw it in there. I got them all written down here next to it. But it's true, mate. He's a world-class 8. He's up there in the discussion for the best number 8s performances across the season. He's been fabulous. And he wasn't as fabulous on Saturday. Now, that we can't draw every conclusion from the fact that he played 6. Again, we've got to give Italy took him out of the game in many ways, because they kept the ball. But, look, again, we come back. Every time I've written Peter O'Mahony off, he's just proved me wrong. He's a bit like Johnny. But Peter was magic down in New Zealand last year. And it's a measure of the man and his leadership. We've got to remember he's a great line-out caller. He's a great defensive line-out player as well. There's a whole lot of pluses down Peter O'Mahony in your side. I think the beauty is they got this, and this is what, apart from fullback, and Sexton, there's competition everywhere.
Yeah.
There's competition everywhere. Now, we've got to say, we know who's in front, Gibson Park and all this, but we've got guys behind that we know now are really competitive. So who do you have in that back row? Now, I would have Doris at 8. I'd have Josh Van der Fleer at 7, without doubt. Who goes at 6? Now you've got a competition on your hands. I'd have Byrne there. Byrne's not there. Who do you have in? Do you start Peter O'Mahony over in Murrayfield, or do you start Baird? Baird, this incredible athlete. Now, I think the reason Baird you mentioned his injuries, which is 100% correct. There's no doubt he's a physical specimen, unbelievable athlete, knows his rugby. I think he needed to grow up a bit off the field. As when I said that, but I don't mean that. No, bad way, it's just maturity. And I believe he's a long way. A couple of years for a young guy that's thrown in at 21. They sometimes need to catch up with their ability in their personality and their nature. And I think he's done that from all reports. So I think we've got a real battle on their hands. And I'd be very interested to see who starts and who goes to the bench. Again, I've been burnt from writing Peter off, so I'm not going to do it. But if he does get selected, Joe, he's really going to have to perform.
Okay, maybe that's the way to put it. I mean, look, I must say, even as the way I asked the question to Matt Fiona, I thought, God, I'm wincing because I'm dismissing Peter O'Mahony far too casually there. Like he's off one of the best years of his career.
Yeah, and the thing as well, Joe, just on that point is sometimes the 3 best back rows in the country aren't the 3 that you want to start. There's a dynamic, I think, between these 3 guys. You have Peter O'Mahony and they all offer different aspects of the game. I agree with Van der Fleer, definitely the best 7. And, we know what Doris is like at 8. But sometimes I think, you might look at Peter O'Mahony, but he puts in monster performances. He's really physical in around the line out. And it's almost like these 3 guys have built up a really good system together and they play really well together. They almost drive each other on.
Yeah. No, it's a very fair point. Absolutely. So we'll see how that plays out. When you list off all the injuries, by the way, and I mean, there is a parody now of Andy Farrell that with every piece of bad news, he punches the air and says, brilliant, more adversity. But like, geez, man, I mean, that if we were in a World Cup right now, it's an interesting kind of supposition. Like Sexton injured, Ringrose injured, not easy to say the least. You can get by Italy, but like Scotland's going to be sticky.
Andrew Trimble made a really good point the other day, Joe, on TV, and he's just said at a certain point, what Andy's trying to do and is really enjoying is putting his team under pressure and giving the other guys a go. But and what you don't do against Italy is you don't make 10 changes. Like if you've got your full team, say, okay, I'm going to give 10 guys a go, because you lose cohesion. So that when you come back to your reference point before against Fiji, that those teams quite often in that second game in November when they play a Tier 2 team and they bring in another group of players that are in the national squad, they lose cohesion because you make too many changes. And Trimby's point the other day was he felt Ireland reached the point where there were that many changes it affected performance. And that's probably a fair point. And we just mentioned, Bundy playing at 13 for one. And then you lose, then you get Tom O'Toole come on. And I thought Tom had a really positive game. I don't mean that. But there's just that many changes that you do lose that cohesion that you have when you've been with someone for a long time, which is what Fiona was saying, the relationship between Gary Ringrose and James Lowe. And I felt that on Saturday. I think Andrew was spot on. But if that was in a World Cup and a quarter-final, we'd lose, for sure.
Yeah.
When you're coming up against France, New Zealand and all that sort of stuff. The hope is that a year out, you're giving these guys the chance so that if you don't lose 7 or 8 for the quarter-final, but you lose 2 or 3, which might be a reality, they can fit in and it doesn't affect the team performance. That's the hope. Look, I think every team that wins a World Cup or gets to the final, there's a ball that bounces their way with injury. Like the two World Cups I was involved with, there's no doubt they had some luck along the way.
Yeah.
And then the one of them that I was 95, they didn't have luck. The 99, they had a lot of luck. They had a lot of things going their way. So, France knocked New Zealand out for a start.
Yeah.
So, but both of those World Cups that won were involved. It was the year before that won it. That all the planning and everything was the year before. Then the guys, they had the great squad. They had the tactics, had self-belief, had self-confidence. They went out and the ball bounced their way a couple of times. They won a World Cup. This is the year. Right now is when you're preparing for the World Cup, not in September. Or, give you another one, JFK, get another, the time to fix the roof when the sun's shining. You've got to do it now. You've got to do it now. And that's what Andy Farrell's doing. And I can't speak highly enough of it because I've had 25 years of being really frustrated with people not doing it. And he is doing it. And you know what? The team's still won with a bonus point. They're still on line for a Grand Slam, and he's going to get most of those players back. I believe Jamison Gibson Park is still in doubt.
Yeah.
But he might make it, but he's the one. The other guys are all going to be back. That's what I was told from a few of the boys there on Saturday night. So if that's the case, you're going to Murrayfield in really good shape.
That was Matt Williams and Fiona Hayes. The full conversation, which goes to about 40 minutes or so on Monday Night Rugby, available wherever you get your podcast from.